Does this sound like you? Ever since you were small, you have loved video games. You might have grown up with the N64, the Wii, the Xbox 360, a PC, or even you might have had an iPad which you played Angry Birds on. And what a glorious time that was. Every day you would look forward to booting up your console of choice and playing for hours on end. But nowadays, sometimes you notice, wait, am I even having fun? Video games are not as fun as they used to be. I hear this all the time. Do I agree with it? Kinda. I love gaming. I always have, and as far as I see it, I always will. At the time of recording this video, I'm playing through Cyberpunk and I'm loving every moment of it. I buy a lot of video games, I play a lot of video games, I even dress up as video game characters to conventions. I love this medium. But somehow, I still find myself slightly agreeing with this question. How is this possible? Let me tell you how. Number 1. You are so old. You are ancient. Look at you. Maybe the games haven't gotten worse over time. You've just gotten more particular with your time. Think about it. You're a kid. You can't think of anything more fun to do with your day than sit in, grab some snacks, and play some Super Mario Sunshine. But you aren't a kid anymore. You're an adult. There's a whole world to explore. You could literally do anything you want right now. Maybe collecting all those blue coins for hours on end is just simply not worth it. Also, you gotta consider that many people, especially as you get older, have work, university, or other commitments that just take up a lot of your time, and maybe they'd rather spend their free time doing something else than playing video games. Most big titles nowadays take 20 to 30 hours to complete. That's a long amount of time to spend doing just one thing, especially when you can play a movie and get a full story experience in 2 to 3 hours. Hey, you got this far in the video. I bet you're enjoying it then, yeah? Then why aren't you subscribed? Yeah, I see you. I see you're not subscribed. Number 2. Everyone is way more critical now than they used to be. The internet is a terrible place, and I hate it. Ignorance is bliss. Let me give you an example. I play a lot of the fighting game Guilty Gear Strive. Now, Strive is the newest entry in this series, and the series has historically been quite a low damage series, meaning that you have to do a lot of hits, your combos have to be very long to start racking up damage, but Strive flips the formula on its head. It's quite a low damage series. Combos last about 6 hits at most, damage is quite high in each move, so it's more about spacing out your opponent and not getting hit rather than stringing long combos together. And I find this game so fun. But it's not very fun when you have someone in your ear telling you it's bad and the old games are better all the time. I'm not sure if this point is more placebo than anything, but the internet is a very negative place. Everyone likes to complain. Trying to play something whilst everyone complains about it really just sucks the fun out of it. Games are an art form meant to be enjoyed by the player and the player alone. Each individual player has their own views and opinions, and that is okay. That's how it's meant to be. Modern gaming discourse seems to take a hive mind approach to games. Everyone must have one opinion, like God of War has too many tutorials and holds your hand too much. I hear this all the time. I love the game, but now I can't think of this every time a character talks. I would never have thought of this criticism in my own head, but now it's in my mind, I cannot avoid it. It's the main reason I left this godforsaken hellhole a few months back. Nowadays, especially on social media, there is this huge culture of ranking things. Tier lists are everywhere. And whilst I think this is fun, and I love a good tier list, it's not the be-all end-all way to rank things. The tiny minutiae that you enjoy about something simply can't be captured on this row of squares. Not everything has to be ranked. For the remake of Final Fantasy VII, they replaced the entire English cast, every last one of them. A lot of people constantly go on about how the old cast were better and portrayed the characters better, but that's just not true. Some of the new actors are better than the old cast, and admittedly, some are in fact worse. But the point I'm making here is you don't have to prefer either cast. Social media creates such pressure to pick a side, prefer one or the other, when in reality, a lot of people, like myself, don't mind either way. In fact, the majority of people feel this way. It's just these people in the middle are never vocal about it because they don't really have much to say. They don't have any strong opinions. They feel neutral. So if you feel a certain way about something, please don't let social media pressure you into picking a side, and don't let negative strangers on the internet ruin your enjoyment of something. God of War is a great game despite the hand-holding. Guilty Gear Strive is different, but fun. And the Final Fantasy VII Remake cast are incredible. Moving on. Number 3. There's too much choice. Too many games. Why are there so many games? Ah! Now, I know this one is gonna sound a little bit contradictory, but maybe there being so many games these days is why some people feel like they don't like video games as much anymore. Do you ever hop on your console, excited to play something, and then you just end up sitting there on the home screen looking at all your games, wondering why you don't feel like playing any of them? I do that too. We've established this. I'm a nerd. Especially for the average consumer, video games can be overwhelming, especially considering that many big-budget AAA games these days, which, may I remind you, is the main type of game these people are going to be playing, are just very similar. Most are first-person shooters or third-person action games, so when there's so many options, but a lot of these options are similar, the entire medium just seems boring. And let's not forget that multiplayer games nowadays constantly try to shove a battle pass model down your throat, and a lot of people, when they buy a battle pass, they're committed to that game. That's the only game they're going to play, and they're put off by everything else because, well, if I spend time playing something else, I won't be able to finish my battle pass. So unfortunately, some people get essentially wedlocked into playing a game that they might not even enjoy that much because they see it more as a chore rather than, well, playing a game. And yes, I hear you in the comments, what about indie games? Indie games are very creative and new. And yeah, that's true. If you're a gamer and you find yourself bored, pick up an indie game. Any random indie game. You're probably gonna love it. But taking it back to my first point again, most people don't have the time to look for a new indie game and then play it, and they might not even end up enjoying it. People like to stick with what they trust. It's why COD does so well, despite the fact that the games have had a really steep decline in quality over the years, and I say that as a massive Call of Duty fanboy. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't feel like you have to play everything. Just take your time and have some fun. Video games are great, and even if you used to play a lot of games and you don't anymore, I can guarantee you that you can still boot up a round of Mario Kart and play it with your friends and family. That's what's so amazing about these things. It's fun. It's fun in a box. Unless it's this. This sucks. So if you find yourself bored of video games, that's okay. The world's your oyster. You can go out and do whatever you want. But when you get back home, these little boxes of fun are going to be waiting for you. So have you noticed that you play less video games than you used to? Or maybe do you just not enjoy them as much anymore? Every opinion's valid. Be sure to comment them down below and let's have a discussion about this, because I think the quality of video games is higher than ever before. I just think maybe stuff like battle passes and there being so much choice causes some people to not see how good games are. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. See you later.